Can we just have starting off some team news ahead of the North London derby?
Hopefully everybody's available. So good news. We have one more session before the game, but in general, everybody's feeling good.
Good. I want to ask you about how your team has prepared mentally for this fixture, because no disrespect to Norwich and Burnley, they're teams we would expect Arsenal to beat. This is an entirely different prospect now, isn't it, a North London derby?
Well, it's the most special game of the season at home, that's for sure. It's a London derby, and emotionally it's a different one to play, and we know how much it means for our supporters as well.
Well, talking of supporters, Mikel, this is going to be the first time that you've been in charge in front of a full Emirates for a North London derby. You've obviously played in games where there's been full at the full Emirates Stadium. How special is that going to be for you? Do you think there's any extra pressure on you?
To be fair, I can't wait to have that experience. And even right now, after such a long time without them, when I have experience on derbies, but with our supporters, and I'm saying supporters because I think that's the word to describe the people that are behind our football club. Because what they've done in the last few weeks has been pretty special. I think they only want the best for the club. And it's very different to be just a fan. A fan and a supporter, I think, behaves in different ways. And what we have experienced in the last two games is pretty unique and is related to our history. It's people who respect and wants to promote the values that they've been installed in this football club for many people that has been in charge here. And it's just a privilege to see how they are able to understand, and the intelligence that they've shown, because it comes from the knowledge that they know about our history, they know about what we need to do, what we want to achieve, and they are fully behind the team.
And I want to talk about, because us as journalists, we always talk about how form goes out the window for games like this. I wonder what you think about that, because obviously it's good to go into this game with the momentum that you have done. But would you agree? Do you think form comes into this game at all?
No, I think there are certain level of confidence when you're in a winning strike that is really positive to face a big match. But after one, the ball is rolling and it's a completely different context. We are playing at home. We're going to have our people right behind us. They're going to create an incredible climate that you have to be able to enjoy, empower, and make the most of it.
We know Harry Kane loves scoring in this fixture. Someone who does as well is Alexander Lacazette. He scored in 3 of the last 4 North London derbies. He's of course been an unused substitute in the last 2 Premier League games, but played and scored midweek in the League Cup. What do you make of him coming back into the side, and can we see him starting up front with maybe Aubameyang on the left? Is that something you'd consider?
Everybody has a chance. Obviously, we're not going to tell anyone what we're going to do in terms of the lineup, but obviously there are a few positions that we are addressing and try to make the right decision.
And I'm just finally going to ask, I know you've been asked about it a lot, Mikel, and I'm so sorry to ask you again, but you've played Aaron Ramsdale the last 2 games in the Premier League. You know, you've said you were going to pick the goalkeepers game by game. Bernd Leno obviously played in the League Cup, so sort of everything's pointing towards Aaron Ramsdale being your number 1.
Well done for trying. You will see the lineup on Sunday. As you can understand, I cannot give anything away.
But because it's such a big game, I know you're not going to give anything away, but it's the biggest game one of the biggest games of Arsenal's season. So can we then, going forward, whichever goalkeeper does play, that would be your number 1?
It's one more game, a really important game, but we are in September, so still 8 or 9 months to go in the competition.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mikel. Good luck.
We'll come to Carve from Sky in the room.
Mikel, you were just very complimentary about the Arsenal supporters. Obviously, this game means so much to Arsenal supporters. How much does it mean to the players? Are they aware of what is at stake when Arsenal play Spurs?
They do, and I will make sure that they understand what it means, the history between the 2 clubs, and what is this rivalry coming from, and what it means emotionally to all of our supporters. And you have to play that game with a slightly different skin, because there is a little bit more in stake.
Spurs come into this game on the back of two big defeats in the league. Is there ever a good time to be playing Spurs in the North London derby?
As I mentioned, when the ball is rolling, I think we all forget where we are. We're just trying to compete to win that football match. It won't be any difference from them, and the both teams are going to try to win regardless, because they have the necessity. We have the necessity. We want to pick up the point. We know what it means for us this game, so I'm sure they will going to try our best.
Obviously, Harry Kane is a player who's got an incredible scoring record in this fixture. He appears to be playing a little bit deeper in the past few months. Does that make it slightly easier for you when you're facing him, or is he dangerous wherever he's on the pitch?
I think he's played in that role for a while right now. I think you look at the numbers and the assists that he's able to create, and the goals that he's scoring is always on the top of the table. So I don't think that changes a lot.
And obviously, you've got a fully fit squad. Granit Xhaka is available again. Do you think him and Thomas Partey are both 100% ready to start this game if they're called upon?
Well, they're in the possible state that they can be. Obviously, they had both different issues in the last few weeks. Thomas with a big injury and Granit with a suspension. That ideally you want players with more run of games and they are a little bit more consistent in terms of minutes, but they are both available.
And how has Granit been? Obviously, he had the issue with the suspension and
COVID
as well. How has he been training? How does he feel physically?
He came back and he was flying because he really looks after himself. He's always training. And as he always is, he will just give you the maximum and the best possible attitude to compete and win matches.
Can I also ask you about Takahiro Tomiyasu, who's been so impressive? What have you made of his performances? And he was obviously a player that Spurs were also interested in signing this summer.
Well, I'm impressed more than the performance as well, the way he has settled and the way he has gained everybody's appreciation, the way he is. And then, he had no time to prepare against Norwich, and then a proper Premier League traditional game against Burnley with, I think he was exceptional, and he had to go through some difficult moments because they really test you. And I think he did that with pride and the way he is, always fully committed and focused.
George, BBC.
Thanks, Mikel. Hello.
Yes.
Mikel, even when you was playing, Arsenal always had a bit of a reputation as an injury-hit team. I mean, what's happened? This must be a first, that you've got no problems going into the match on Sunday.
That's good. Let's continue like this.
Is there a reason?
Yeah, look at this weather. Everything helps, good energy, a couple of wins, everybody wants to be involved. And we have a fantastic physios and sports science and medical department, and they try to look after themselves the best possible way.
You talk about the good energy, that's obviously come from the 2 wins, but I know you mentioned the fans. Do you think that on Sunday, if you win, they'll really buy into the project and what you want to do?
Well, we will give them another reason to do it. I think they have already done, and they have shown that without getting the best results, which that's something exceptional and remarkable. And that's what I meant about the words, that they are supporters, which is very different. And that's why we want to give something that they can really enjoy and get even closer to our team.
Can I just ask, have you picked your starting 11 already? Do you know in your mind who's playing in goal? Do you know your starting 11? Have you made your mind up?
I have an idea, yes.
Okay. Just a quick one. Did you watch Tottenham Chelsea last week? And what did you make of how Chelsea used N'Golo Kante? Would that have any effect on how you play on Sunday?
Well, we don't have N'Golo, so we cannot use him. So it's difficult to compare, but I think they were 2 very different halves. I think it was a really competitive game that was decided as well in some small details, and set pieces took a big part of that in 2 of the 3 goals, and it was a good game to watch.
And Harry Kane, he's out of form. Will you speak to your defenders about how they play him, particularly Ben White, who's a bit younger than him, but knows him from England?
Obviously, we have to show them the threats and the qualities and where they will try to hurt us and try to prevent that as much as possible. And we know that he's a big threat, and a lot of things come from his contribution in attack.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ian, TalkSport.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Good.
2 weeks is a long time. You sat in front of me 2 weeks ago. I was asking you questions, and you lost 3 games in a row, hadn't scored a goal, and everyone was saying Arsenal were in crisis. And yet 3 wins, including the cup win later, and suddenly you might even be favourites to win this game on Sunday.
But that's the beauty of this sport, that changes one way or the other very, very quickly. So you have to be able to see things with perspective, don't lose the focus, and try to adapt and get the best out of you every single game, because the dynamics can change really quickly before you know it. So we are in a good place to face Spurs on Sunday, but that's only it. After, we have to show on the pitch what we can do.
So how do you keep yourself, well, you told me how you keep yourself, but how do you keep your players from getting 2 up when they won 3 in a row and 2 down when they've lost 3 in a row and everybody's saying that they're hopeless?
Telling them the truth and looking at the reality and trying to change the things that we can and improve, and as well showing the things that we do really well, and try to find an understanding why sometimes performance don't follow results, or they do. And if that's the case, then it's a bigger change that is needed.
We're only early in the season, but normally a North London derby, one or both of Tottenham or Arsenal will be kind of in the top 6. Does it show how far both clubs have to go, the fact that this isn't a game which will affect top 4, top 6 in the table at the moment?
It can do, or how far this league is gone. Comparing to 3, 4 or 5 years ago, this is a different planet now. This Premier League is never been as strong as this. Is the strongest league in the world in history, in my opinion, because of the quality of the teams, the quality and the evolvement of the organization, how the league has developed, and the quality of the coaches, managers that are in the league, the players that are joining this league. It's never been that strong.
How much stronger than when you played in it? And how would you play in this league
Much
now?
stronger, yeah, and I wouldn't be able to play at this level. So much stronger.
Wow, you wouldn't be able to play at this level. That's amazing. Can I just ask you one last thing? Talking about safe standing coming back into football, and to be fair, that the atmospheres in the ground will be amazing if that happens. Also, they're looking into possibly fans being able to drink in their seats. I know they do in other countries around the world. What are your views on both standing and also maybe fans being allowed alcohol back in the stadiums?
I think any regulation that creates an atmosphere in the stadium that is safe for everybody can be encouraged. So we have authorities and we have processes that they have to determine that much better than us, because obviously we don't see a lot of things that are happening in the background. So if it's safe and encourages to enjoy the atmosphere in a different way, and they all agree with it, I think that can be discussed.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Nick from Haters. Can you keep it tight, Nick? We're running out of time.
Yeah, will do. Just a quick couple of questions about Ober, if I may. For the last time he played Tottenham at home, he was dropped, wasn't he, just before the game because of that lateness issue. Is that all behind him now? And how has he been since then? Well,
that was just an incident that I had to make a decision, and I did on the day. And now I think I was in a different position. That didn't mean that it was in a bad position at the time. It was just an incident that that we as a team have some ways of living together, and it wasn't the case. So we made a decision, and I think now he's been in really good form. I think the way he played at Burnley, even if he didn't score a goal, it was extraordinary the way he played for the team. So we are expecting him to do the same.
I was going to ask about his scoring. Is it a concern? Because last season overall, and even this season so far, he's not getting quite the numbers in front of goal, is he?
But he will, and he's generated the chances, and we have to generate more, and we have to put him through in more occasions, which we know how it's going to end up, and he's in good form.
Is this the sort of big game that he should thrive in, that you look to him to get goals and hopefully sort of launch the season for him?
You need a special moment, and details a lot of time decide this type of fixtures, and big players, they do normally. So when they step in and they are able to do that for the team, normally the outcome becomes really positive.
Just a final question, because I know we're tight for time. There's talk of maybe Laka getting a chance to play. I'm just worried about his future. If he does not sign this contract, he's free to talk to new clubs in January. Will you have to sell him if he doesn't sign a new deal?
We discussed that internally. We discussed that with him. It's a long season ahead of us. Anything can happen. Everything is open. He just needs to focus on performing and contribute to the team like he always does. He's a phenomenal character. He's somebody that's always pushing, and it has a real interest to help the team, and that is not going to change. And after, we will see what happens.
Thanks. Best of luck Sunday. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, that's the end of the live section.